Welcome. Reading about Aquarius. Reading about Aquarius from Alan Leo's Astrology for All. I do not have a hard copy, just a electronic copy here. And got two more to go here. I've been reading from this book on these lives. And this is chapter 14. Aquarius is the last of the airy triplicity, also the last of the fixed signs, and the center of the serving trinity. Not really sure what he means by these trinities he keeps mentioning. I'll have to go back. I'm sure it's in the beginning of this book. The center of the serving trinity. I mean, think of signs that have to do with service. We have Virgo for sure. And I do see Aquarius as being a serving trinity. I also think that Capricorn, I think he might have mentioned that. I can't remember reading so many of these. Capricorn is also a strong sign of service, possibly Taurus, but definitely Aquarius in its higher self. Nothing that could be said of this sign at our present stage of evolution could possibly convey the idea of the state of evolution to be reached when the whole of humanity advances to the condition of this sign. And this book was written about 100 years ago, I believe. And we're not even close. I mean, I actually recently thought about stepping back and really looking at the world to see if it has any really resemblance of a true Aquarius society. And haven't really taken enough time to really think enough about it. But just thinking about it recently. But it says here, our present stage of evolution could possibly convey the idea of the state of evolution. So really, we aren't even close. Definitely not back then. Its symbol is the man commonly known as the water bearer, and that which the perfected man will be in the concrete or the objective world will also be attained in the subjective world by the Aquarian. If we combine the fixed nature of this sign with the airy triplicity, we have the idea of fixed air, from which we may deduce the fact that the thoughts may become fixed and concentrated, and thus become the real. Aquarian individuals are determined, patient, quiet, unobtrusive, and faithful. See, that's the thing about Aquarius versus, let's say, Gemini or Libra. What he's saying here with fixed air, that the thoughts are fixed and concentrated so then they can become real, because often a lot of us have lots of ideas and thoughts, but we can't stick with them long enough to make things real, to make them become real. And many people in astrology and people who believe in astrology think that they can just think things and have it become real overnight. And Aquarius would have a lot to say about that not being true. Aquarian individuals are determined, patient, quiet, unobtrusive, and faithful. They have the power of concentrating their thoughts and are generally philosophic and scientific. I used to think there's something wrong with me, as I have 3 planets, including the moon in Aquarius. And I was when I got into like around groups of people that I really wasn't comfortable with or didn't know, and it wasn't that I was nervous, but I was quiet and unobtrusive until I got to know people. Then that all changed. They have the power of concentrating their thoughts. They lead toward the unconventional and thus become excellent reformers. They have bright and clear intellects and persevere patiently with all their pursuits. I think that's one of the frustrating things about Aquarius is that like it says here, they're unconventional, but I don't think I'm unconventional. I know that I'm unconventional in the face of my experience as I've gotten older, and in the face of my experience with the public, especially like the result of things. Like people won't actually, it's like being an Aquarius, like they won't tell you to your face oftentimes that you're unusual. You'll find out other ways. They'll even like comment how cool you are, et cetera, but then later on, they tend to like stab you in the back when they have to speak to the authority about you because they're embarrassed. They have bright, clear intellects and persevere patiently with all their pursuits. The other thing to say about that, like this new thing that's trendy is like neuro. I was on this date once, and this girl called me a neurodivergent. She's like, maybe you're neurodivergent, and she was in IT. She worked in IT, and I'm like, look, I'm not neurodivergent. But that's what they try to do. They try to make these little categories for these things when, as it's saying here, if you go back here, the Aquarian age, right, you're looking at, he's saying that at a present stage of evolution, humanity isn't in the Aquarian state right now. And if they were, I wouldn't be called neurodivergent. I'd be called normal. They are persons one feels one can depend on, and they inspire trust by their equable dispositions. They are nearly always kind, humane, and retiring. We like our friends. Life would be better. My life would be a million times better if I could go back to the way things were when I was a kid and I could hang out with my friends every day. They are exceedingly fond of art, music, and literature, but seem to have more ability for scientific studies. And in this, they are helped considerably by their intuitive and penetrating nature. See, the scientific thing can go way overboard. You see a lot of people that have stelliums in Aquarius, and it's not all of them, because I've seen both. But the scientific ones, they're super scientific. When fully individualized, they have a great love for all humanitarian undertakings and concerns that produce harmony for the many. This gives them marked social tendencies and makes them delight in giving pleasure to others. And this reminds me of like a Jesus Christ chart. I have his chart in my playlist. If that is his chart, he had Mercury. I think he had Mercury in Aquarius, and then something in the 11th house. Like maybe the node, I'm thinking. Maybe one of the nodes in the 11th house. Sun in Pisces, Mercury in Aquarius. And that's kind of what he's talking about here, this idea of like someone like that would have been an Aquarian individual. Not the way that the Christian church sometimes portrays him, but if you really step back and look at all the stories and interpret them in an Aquarian light, you see what Aquarius person is. And I see people, you know what, I see people that are Aquarian people. They don't necessarily have to have Aquarius planets in their chart or the sign emphasized. They might have the 11th house or Uranus emphasized. And I see people becoming individualized. And I see them struggling with in the world we live in, I see them struggling to give in to the fact that they do delight in giving pleasure to others. I see them struggling with that. with some people in their charts. They possess literary and artistic ability above the average, and are always more or less inclined toward the occult sciences. They make splendid researchers on scientific lines. When awakened, they are patient in devotion and are careful in their thought, and develop excellent memories for subjective ideas. The main feature of this sign is the remarkable ability that it gives for the study of human nature. Hence, a guy like me, I mean, I look at my channels. I have some other channels and some things that I've done, and I know how it's only been a year, but sometimes I have to look at my work, and I'm just getting started. And I think that I do have some type of skill for the study of human nature, and many people don't understand that because they don't have that skill, so they don't understand where I'm coming from. The Aquarian individuals are born character readers, and they are rarely mistaken in their judgment. I could tell you a story about that, actually. I'm not going to tell you, but I want to. But something like that happened recently. I knew something about a person, and I got burned, and I knew it. They seem to contain the essence of the airy triplicity and possess a mentality of the highest and most refined quality, which makes them natural clairvoyants, clear reasoners, and careful students. I mean, I'd say like a lot of this stuff, like even a lot of this stuff I wouldn't get carried away with, like natural clairvoyance, etc. I'm not saying that I'm a natural clairvoyant. I'm not saying that I buy into all my intuitive senses, because I don't, because I just don't trust that 100%, I would say. When living along the purely personal lines, they are somewhat chaotic, diffusive, deceptive, tricky, and clever for their own ends, conceited, somewhat egotistical, apt to use their inflexible wills in the direction of selfish mental desires, and inclined to be vacillating and capricious, often boasting of things they cannot perform. I mean, this is going to be most people. You know, all the good stuff I said about Aquarius, if you find one like that, you're lucky. There are many, many, many Aquarius people that are out for themselves, because that is the world we live in. We are conditioned to be out for ourselves. And that can lead to the Aquarius energy in a chart becoming deceptive, tricky, and clever for their own ends out of necessity to maintain their position, maintain their survival, maintain their material possessions, etc. And why shouldn't they? Because that's what everyone else does. There are very few true Aquarians amongst us as yet. Their day is, however, approaching, and we may catch a glimpse of what we may expect when studying the lives of Dickens, Edison, Ruskin, and George Peabody, in the clairvoyance of Swedenborg, and in the science of Darwin, all of whom were born in this sign. We may thus gain some idea of what the future of humanity may be. See, right now we get like the Elon Musk types and his wife. We get these types that are doing Aquarian scientific things, but are they really helping humanity? And that's what you see with a lot of these super scientific Aquarius types. I mean, is Tesla really helping humanity? Not Tesla the man, but Tesla the company. So that hopefully in the future, that is just a phase, and that's just kind of a transition, like just a very beginning energetic expression of Aquarius. We may thus have some idea of what the future of humanity may be with that technology and whatnot. How will it be used? Defective circulation is the chief cause of the troubles common to Aquarians when not living healthy and progressive lives. Yeah, I feel that. I'm still fighting with that. when not living healthy and progressive. The key, really, what I'm getting at is from Aquarius standpoint, the progressive life, life. And it doesn't have to be like super progressive, but when I get into situations where I'm really bogged down by Saturn and really living the consensus life, it's not possible. It gets to a point where I can't live that life. And I can do the work hard, 9 to 5, etc. if I'm in an Aquarius environment where I can talk to people, I have friends around me, and I can express myself, I can say what I want, etc. Then I can do it. If I'm not in that, then it gets real difficult. They have more mental vitality, as it were, than physical. Therefore, exercise and fresh air is their finest medicine. Beautiful scenery and harmonious surroundings and the concentration of their thought upon good health and perfect circulation will do much to benefit them physically. The Aquarians succeed best in life in all pursuits where steady application of the mind and the concentration of thought are necessary. They make good artists, designers, and musicians. I want to come back to this. I just had a thought about this with dating apps, with this idea of being progressive. Like for an Aquarius, I bet you like the Aquarius types, they'll go like they won't live in an Aquarius world, but then they'll hammer the dating apps because that's progressive, because that's the quickest way to get out of that. And you might say thank God for dating apps, but that's not the Aquarian ideal. That's like a quick fix that doesn't really work. It's just a coping mechanism for what's really wrong, which is the work life in general. They have inventive genius and are responsible for more inventions for the benefit of humanity than any other signs. My dad had Aquarius rising and Uranus in the 5th, and he was an inventor. He loves to invent, even small things. Small, like, he does art. We call it junk art. He calls it junk art. They just find stuff to make art with. They would have success in all employments connected with electricity. See that as well. A lot of electricians and things like that. Anytime you see an electrician or someone working in that kind of environment, you know they got some Aquarius. Or as writers or in connection with railways. Interesting. The Aquarians may be summed up as honest, steady, discriminative, and truly intelligent individuals. They are see, that's the age of Pisces, is missing discrimination. Discrimination in an honest way, not like a cloudy, nebulous, I'm not really sure way. They're noted for the integrity and sincerity they possess. The intense and fixed love nature of the fixed signs combined with the refined mental quality of the Aries signs. They are faithful in their love until the end. The love generally living in the higher mind. They succeed in life where others would fail and have clear conceptions of all they undertake. They are studious and thoughtful and at the same time versatile. They can retain whatever knowledge they acquire and are discriminative enough to turn all their forces in the best direction. They are acquisitive without being miserly and are inclined to leave their possessions for the benefit of humanity. They seem to readily take to strangers and rarely consider that others are in any way strange to them. And through their I would say, I mean, that's true if you get rid of fear. If you're a fearful person and you're Aquarius, then you're not going to readily take to strangers. And through their excellent ability to read and judge human character, they rarely make mistakes in their estimate of others. They all possess the latent ability to become the man that their sign symbolizes. And when they have united their grand mentality with their polar sign, Leo, in which is contained all the feelings, love, and emotions of the heart, They are then able to, like the water bearer, pour out upon the earth the living waters of life, which nourish and sustain all around them. Light and life await those who break away from the personality and live in the individuality of this sign. So that's Aquarius, 20 minutes on the dot. Had a couple people pop in. There's somebody now. Just finished up reading about Aquarius. If you have anything to say in the chat, let me know. Ask any questions. Otherwise, I'm going to close down the stream and you can watch it later on. Thanks for watching.